First of all, I'd just like to say that I'm mostly not happy with Gears of War Reloaded. I find this quote unquote remaster of the original remaster of Gears of War 1 to be unnecessary. But not to say that it does have some positives, but it's not really nothing to do with the game per se. Because they announced, when it was first announced, that this game would be coming to PlayStation, right? And that's great, like more players, the better, right? And especially for, PlayStation users that have never played a Gears of War game in their lives or never even touched an Xbox. That's great and all, but everything else surrounding this Reloaded edition, it just feels like they got lazy. And when I played the game, I played the first act along with a couple of chapters and 3 matches of King of the Hill, because King of the Hill is probably my favorite versus mode. I like the whole objective based modes, that sort of thing, right? And I was kind of baffled by it, to be honest. Now I find that the Ultimate Edition, which came out in 2015, was the definitive way to play Gears of War, to play Gears of War 1. The original, it was fine, for its time. It was probably like a technical achievement, but it was showing its age, that sort of thing. And fun fact, to this day, I have not completed the campaign. This is for the original Gears of War 1, right? I just could not get past the General Ram boss fight. I literally just couldn't. But on the Ultimate Edition, I completed the campaign multiple times. I played the multiplayer also. What it did is that it kept everything the same, but they added in better graphics, a bunch of quality of life improvements here and there. But like I said, they still kept it mostly the same as with like the first Gears of War game, the original. This Reloaded version, like people saying that is Microsoft or Xbox, whatever, saying that like, oh, this is the definitive way to play Gears of War now. And yes, that's true, but my first impressions of this game were not favorable. The first cutscene, I noticed something in the audio that really bugged me. Now, I'm not an audio expert or anything like that, but for some odd reason, the music is so fucking loud that it drowns out the dialogue, the characters talking and all that stuff, right? And also, there was some extremely awful clipping with the audio in the cutscenes, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I was listening through my headphones, right, through my Xbox controller, and there was literally one point, I can't remember what cutscene it was, but there was like an explosion, a grenade explosion, right? It literally, it sounded like fucking static. Like literally, I was like, fucking Christ, what the hell, man? I could not remember the audio being this bad in Ultimate Edition. I'll give you my comparisons between the Ultimate and Reload later on. But then, besides the weird thing with the audio, with the cutscenes, this and that, when you get into the actual game itself, with the gameplay, right, nothing's really changed. It still feels like Gears of War 1. I mean, to be honest, guys, only just recently now, I have not played Gears of War 1 in a very, very long time. So, my opinion on it might not be as fresh as probably like some other gamers who've played it very, very recently, just for like nostalgia sakes or whatever. But as I somewhat remember, it still feels like Gears of War 1. Clunky, You're basically like a walking tank, that sort of thing, and that's not a bad thing at all. Gears of War 1 is Gears of War 1. It should never be changed. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But I started to notice some stuff, and this is apparent in the multiplayer too. First of all, I just want to get this out of the way, and this is like a nitpick, nothing really important to probably all of you, but it's just something that bugged me, right? So, when you pick up a gun, or you pick up ammo, or you shoot, or you kill someone in multiplayer, right? It will tell you at the bottom left hand of your screen, saying like, ammo 30 plus, or you killed this person, this and that, right? For some reason, in this reload edition, what they do, right? They show you like the white text, and then there'll be a black outliner, just to make the the text pop out more, right? For some reason, they added in a black box surrounding the text, and it's very noticeable. Now, it's not as like, totally dark. It's a little bit more faded, but I was like, kind of like, why did they put this in there? And my thought is that it's probably for accessibility reasons, and that's fine, all. But but if there was a fucking setting, I would like to turn it off, because it just literally clutters the entire screen, and I hate cluttering in fucking video games. This ain't some sort of Suicide Squad killed the Justice League thing, right? And it's so egregious if you're like playing in multiplayer where it literally stacks up all the time. I know I'm just going on about that sort of thing, but it's just something that really bugs me. It's my terrible OCD and all that stuff. It's just such an unnecessary thing, and I'm hoping that there'll be some sort of patch that will allow us to turn that thing off or whatever, because they got a bunch of accessibility features for like, hey, if you want your team to be green, or whatever, right? But like I said, it's probably nothing for you guys. And like I said, it's still Gears of War and all that stuff, right? But then here's the thing, what I did, right? I went back and played the Ultimate Edition, and I just recently played the Ultimate Edition now, just to see a comparison and play the campaigns, right? Because I don't think in Ultimate Edition I'll be able to find a match in Ultimate Edition at this point. But in the campaigns, I thought that the gameplay in the Reloaded Edition, I thought that it was more stiff. But with Ultimate Edition, for some odd reason, like when I'm like jumping from wall, covering to a wall to the next wall, and just the overall game, right, in the Ultimate Edition, it felt like, I don't know, it felt a bit smoother. I just don't get it, right? How can like the original version feel more unbroken than the new version? And this is nothing new. I mean, we've seen games here and there, they release in a buggy fucking shitty mess, and like, the fucking developers, say, oh, we're so sorry, we'll try again next time. Then another fucking developer releases a game and it's completely utter worthless at launch. But even though that Reloaded wasn't a total buggy mess, I still thought that like none of these issues like are in the Ultimate Edition. And I encourage you guys just to, if you have the Ultimate Edition, just go back and play it, and just see for yourself, because I guarantee that there's drastically some things that's changed, unnecessary, or just something that's subtle that just feels super off. And also another thing which I've almost forgot about, there's a little bit of an issue. I mean, this is nothing, like I said, this is just like a nitpick or something like that. When a match ends in multiplayer, like if it seems like that, like you lose connection like for some reason, like you lose connection to the match or whatever, right? Just for like 2 or 3 seconds, or like nothing happens, and like you on King of the Hill, like you reach the max cap level for you to win the match and all that stuff, right? And then you see your teammates just like walking, running into walls, the enemy team running into walls, and you start to, and I'm just like looking around like, oh shit, did my internet connection went down? But no, it's like it seems to be on the game's side. Now, I did not have this problem with the first match or the second match, but the third match, which was the better match that I played, I ran into that issue, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? Here's the thing, right? You probably think to yourself like, oh, why is he complaining about such little things here and there? Look, to me, they're more than little. They're more than little, because when I see something, hear something that is, or feel something or whatever, that is not like, that was not there in the original version, I start to get a bit pissed off. These remasters, they're supposed to be like, you know, the version that is better, but that's not the case. I mean, graphics are nothing. We've literally reached the cap of like how much we can produce more and more graphics. For some odd reason, the more high fidelity, the more detail in graphics and all that stuff, the more the game's performance quality suffers. I just don't get it, man. I don't know how we've got to this moment with video games, and especially on PC. I've heard that people who were playing this game on Steam had issues playing the game, like they couldn't connect to it, or there was some sort of bug, or this and that, right? I haven't had any issues per se playing the game, but some things here and there, like I said before, just kind of really bugged me. I'm not going to say that this was a total utter disaster of an experience. The third match, like I said, was of multiplayer, was actually my better match per se, and I was having a lot of fun. I genuinely was. Even though that I have more nostalgia for Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, right? You know, it kind of just feels great to go back and just play, you know, a Gears of War game again, even that it's just Gears of War 1 again. It's kind of cool that for people who've owned the Ultimate Edition or pre-saved the game in a short time window, or whatever got announced, just in that, right? You actually get the game for free, and that's good. I got the game for free, which is, you know, it's good, but that still doesn't make me think that, like, for people who didn't get that and still have to pay like $40. I mean, I know that people can play it on Game Pass, but not everyone has Game Pass, right? And for $40 for the same game, I mean, honestly, you might as well, you're better off just playing the Ultimate Edition. If they do roll out some updates, I mean, and it makes the game better, maybe this will be the definitive version. But for right now, the Ultimate Edition is still top tier. And one other final thing, Xbox, where the fuck is Gears of War 2 and 3 remastered? Fans have been going on about the Phoenix Collection, all the first 3 games bundled up into one game, like with the Master Chief Collection. Where the fuck is that? The supposed conspiracy theory is that they're drip feeding these games. So like Gears of War 1 will get released with the Reloaded Edition, and at some point, because we're getting E-Day, Gears of War E-Day next year, right? Whenever they decide to, they roll out Gears of War 2 remastered, or whatever they want to call it, and Gears of War 3 remastered. I mean, it's not confirmed anything like that, but it seems like that they're going that route, just separately releasing these original titles each, instead of just doing the Master Chief Collection, and I get that in a way that they don't want a complete mess like with the Master Chief Collection, because you know how buggy that game was back in the day. You did not need to remaster the first one. Gears of War 2 is right fucking there. Probably one of the best games ever, along with Gears of War 3, one of the best finales to a franchise like ever in a gaming series, and you're remastering the first one again? Seriously, stop fucking being lazy and give us what we want. It's literally right there. I don't get these people, man. I mean, Xbox and Microsoft in general have not really been favorable in the news recently, but I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, whatever the future holds in store for us Gears fan, only time can tell. But that's really about it.